Oh, another bulletin came out. Alright, let's go ahead and just dive straight into it. I hope I just log on and the summer events go in there. No more selling Blad with a new map by your side. Oh no. I don't think we needed that, to be real, because we have the compass. I guess if they get rid of the compass, that'll be nice. Who else has gotten lost at sea? Don't worry, it's natural after all. The sea is so vast that 97% of it has yet to be discovered by the world's renowned scientists. Between the reefs, fog banks, and terrifying ocean lurkers, keeping track of which directions I had already sailed was a nightmare. Thankfully, this is no longer a problem anyone has to deal with. The new navigational charts being handed out across the sea have completely changed how I explore. I can mark locations as I discover them. I've even managed to find my way back to that half-finished lead I abandoned 3 islands ago. So readers, keep an eye out for your own new and improved map making its way to you. If you ever felt like the world was way too big to keep track of, it might now finally feel easier to navigate. Nice. Magma Village on edge. For as long as most residents of Magma Village can remember, the soldiers stationed here have felt less like occupying forces and more like neighbors. They ate at the same stalls, walked the same trails, and nodded the same nods in passing. Some of us had genuinely started to consider them part of the island's community. However, that goodwill is beginning to run out. In recent weeks, the military presence on the island has swelled, and so has the excavation work tearing into the volcano's core. I've watched residents be pushed further and further from their own homes, seen the ground shake more violently with each new drill, and witnessed families who once welcomed these soldiers with open arms start locking their doors instead. Nobody is saying it outright, but the peace here has starting to crack. Elemental creatures have begun to emerge from the volcano, once being long dormant within the magma. The creatures have been seen fighting back against the military. It seems as though the island itself is pushing back against whatever is happening beneath it. What is buried down there that's worth risking the village's trust and possibly its safety? Nobody in the military is willing to answer that question at this point. However, it seems somebody down there clearly wants it badly enough to find out the hard way. Recolored and reforged, multiple new fruit variants have surfaced like it's out. That'd be great. I know it's not out. Scientists across the seas have spent years attempting the impossible, trying to recreate the mystical properties of Blox Fruits in their own labs. They've been hoping to engineer variants of their own while recolors have made possible. It feels like the world needs a little more. Most of the research has quietly stalled, not from the lack of effort, but because something far more interesting has been discovered just recently. Multiple new fruit variants have surfaced in the wild, each carrying a strikingly different appearance. Multiple new fruit variants have surfaced in the wild, each carrying a strikingly different appearance from the fruit they originate from. While the powers beneath remain unmistakably familiar, naturally, every lab that had been chasing synthetic recreations have dropped what they're doing to study the real thing instead. Keep an eye out for these variants to be open to the public soon. The uprise or decline of pyritology. What? How could there possibly be a decline in pyritology? I've never expected calm from a place called Pirate Village, but even by its own standards, things have gotten out of hand lately. It started small, treasure going missing, the usual grumbling you'd expect in a place of untrustworthy pirates. Then it escalated. The windmill mechanisms that keep half the island running got jammed deliberately by a group of brutes who seemed to think it was funny. When I stopped by the local pub to get a drink and asked a few questions, I found the bartender looking more rattled than I'd ever seen him. Apparently, this group had visited more than once this week and not for the ale. Nobody I spoke to seemed to know who was behind the sudden spike in chaos, or whether it was even one group at all. What I do know is that the pirate residents' patience is running thin, and they seem to have no intention of holding back if things continue to get worse. Will Pirate Village ever get a moment of peace?